The connecting thread is that you're clear about who you're making videos for. That's what's important. And that's the value in niching down, that you understand that, okay, I'm making content for a person who enjoys XYZ. Maybe they have these kinds of struggles. Maybe they'll resonate with this. And when you get clear about that, it helps you move forward. Because if you're not clear about that, you're going to start thinking that you're making content for everyone. And that's when you'll start trying to make content that you think everyone wants you to make. But when you're making content for a very specific person, then you make content for them.
HeartBased.io. This is the podcast. It's for the heart-based solopreneur who wants to thrive in both life and business. On this show, I share my conversations with active or aspiring solopreneurs, and we explore the opportunity to gain clarity, get focused, and become profitable. Relax, settle in, and let's discover something beautiful on the inside of what we are, and then share that beauty with the world.
Welcome to the show. This is HeartBased.io podcast, a life and business exploration to see how we can gain clarity, get focused, and hopefully become profitable. Today, I'm hanging out with Genevieve and Glen. They are in Mexico, and they have this extraordinary experience where they just get to travel all around the world and find little projects to do and ways to support themselves. But it also seems like they're looking to take things to another level and be able to grow their business, become more profitable, and also enjoy what they're doing. So, Genevieve, why don't you fill us in a little bit and summarize what kind of service you guys are hoping to be able to provide in the world?
We're hoping to provide a podcast and a film series on the topic of awakening and on the topic of healing through storytelling. The starting reason was a healing journey. What looks like it's becoming the final product is that we share our experience, the people we encounter. We hear incredible stories, and so we record them. It turns out that Glenn jumped in this journey with me, and he's a filmmaker. I was dreaming of doing a podcast. It's not just that we're giving a podcast and a film series, but the idea of the journey is to do good also. We are hoping to make in the end a big film movie about our journey, because it's not a usual journey. You know, we're crossing the entire Americas. We met in 2016 in Israel, but we met up after 5 years that we had not been connected. And here we are 2 years down the road after meeting up in Yosemite and saying, okay, let's do this, we're going. So it's quite a story. For me, it was to save my life, to stay alive a little longer because I had lost taste for life. And so share this experience, hoping that some people are interested in it, and doing good while we are on the road. So helping people do things, and we document all of this. So everything is documented.
Glenn, jump in here for a moment and tell me, what is it about this project that excites you so much as a filmmaker?
It's a very unique situation to be in, because when I decided to join Genevieve, there wasn't really an end goal. It was just, we're generally going in the direction of Argentina. There's no stops along the way that are planned. We just kind of went. And the only thing we knew was we both have our hearts to heal, our minds to heal. As it's been going, it's been more and more clear to me that the through line that goes through the entire journey so far is we are, I feel, guided by the universe to be in these places of healing. We end up in these like magical locations with shamans and healers and these people that have advice and guidance. And we were just talking today about that. We realize that even the healers are healing themselves, and we're having a chance to be in this healing process and see that humans are humans. That human experience that is tying it all together with the healing journey.
I love that so much, especially humans are humans. That sounds like the title of something. Yeah, and what you guys are describing is actually quite extraordinary. There's a beautiful story to tell here. And then also with the skill set of documenting it, it seems like, if anything, the perfect story to invite people to see and to follow along, especially as you're on a continual journey, sharing content that updates people and getting people to be involved in the story. And then also meeting people and then sharing their story. That seems like the perfect thing to be doing.
Right.
Finding a way to support yourself, especially, if it's a passion project that you guys are absolutely enjoying. And so in doing that, in going on this ride, what seems to be the struggle that's making this less than awesome?
So the very thing that Genevieve just brought up, that that while we're here in this beautiful location we're at, is one of the ways that we're affording to be right here, right now, is by doing a promotion for somebody else. That's one thing that I've learned myself, is it's much easier to do something for somebody else without the risk doing this. So this is one of the things that I'm learning, is like, I'm seeing Genevieve really shine, and it's stuff that I would have loved to see her do in our project with us. But with us, there's that risk involved. There's that, what if we fail? What if we post something and it gets no views? What if we try and promote it and it looks like we don't know what we're doing? Being able to help somebody else, it's like I'm really getting to see her shine.
We met in Israel when I was working, and I loved my job, taking care of kids and women. I was blossoming. He met me there, came for a humanitarian project. Here he jumps on board on this journey with a woman that just told him, I've been a year in depression, like serious depression. I didn't want to see anyone. And he jumps in, and I have this amazing project of a podcast, but when it comes time to work, I'm doing literally nothing, Tiger, nothing. I just, for a year, since 2020, I've just went down, and I'm incapable of moving. So here I am with a guy that thinks like, oh my God, what did I get on board with? I was worried about that, but I just couldn't. And it's amazing that we have this opportunity with you right now, because I am going back up after 2 years only now. And I would be scared to tell you that a month ago.
Reaching out to do this with you has been a huge leap in the trajectory of what we're doing. The things that we're manifesting, the frequency at which we're manifesting them, it's all changing. It's incredible.
That's awesome. Now, the way that I would capitalize on this is, when you're looking where to go next, right, in your journey, and then in addition to that help, which is you just helping your own story, there's an additional service that you provide. And I see the bonus in that is you're finding people who have a wider audience that could share what you're doing as you're helping them. And I could see that helping you guys gain a lot of traction as it relates to awareness. We are
actually more into helping locals who do need help because they're lacking money, they're lacking service. We built, for example, in one location, we stayed 1 month, we painted a huge mural for a curandero, for a healer. For another one, we stayed 2 months and we built them a terrace of bamboo. So we do art, Glen will sit himself with kids and do art with them. We're really widespread, but the promotional aspect of it is the least like.
And it's new.
It's new. It's like we want to be more into the more nature side, like the connection with nature it seems to be the one link that allows us to feel some level of healing growing inside.
And as it relates to your business, what's your strategy for being profitable?
I've thought of things like affiliate marketing. There's things like Patreon, but the crowdfunding type stuff isn't a sustainable model. And so we've thought of different things and products and things that are linked to our journey so far. And we started creating these Mayan glyphs that that we can sell as we go. Other than that, like partner program, affiliate marketing, that kind of stuff.
And are you guys on YouTube now?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're on everything we could think of. YouTube, TikTok is hard for me, but I'm trying. Facebook, Instagram. I get sucked into the checking. We post something and I check the likes. So I'm more enjoying, which is really weird. I'm more enjoying right now building something for someone else. And I'm like, wow. So I'm forcing myself to do the same for us. Next to it, I build a website, so I'm changing our website. I have a photographer and a filmmaker, 24/7 with me. We have beautiful material. We're going simpler, but we're making all these changes now.
And how's it going with being on YouTube? How long have you been on YouTube?
To me, it's very slow growth.
Because you had experience before.
Yeah, I got my first partnership a long, long time ago, like when YouTube first started. Is basically if you had a popular video, they're just like, oh, we want you as a partner. And then you just keep creating content, and then they linked AdSense and stuff to it. The bulk of our content is basically like 1-hour documentaries. And right now we only have, I believe, 6 of them. If we sit down and dedicate to it, it can take a month, 2 months to finalize one of these pieces, because it's just the two of us working on it. And we're mastering audio. We're doing all the aspects of the whole production. It's like by the time we release the next one, I feel like the audience has lost us and they've moved on to something else. The more we niche down, the more we know what we're doing, which it's taken 2 years to figure out what we're doing. Yeah. And to me, it's so easy to look at what we do. And like if I assembled a 2-minute compilation of our footage and we didn't narrate it at all, it's like, there's this couple and they're traveling and they're experiencing all these amazing things and it's incredible. And it just looks like a travel vlog or something. And to me, it's not that at all. Yes, we're traveling. Yes, we're meeting incredible people, incredible places, incredible scenarios. But then we're also sharing our own problems, that it's not just peachy and, hey, we're going to go and, fiesta and all of this. It's, we're facing our problems of the past, our problems of the present. We can pull all of these tools and what works for us and share that spirituality while traveling, learning and growth while traveling, awakening while traveling.
Just a couple examples maybe to illustrate what it means. We met Greg a year and a half ago. A super cool guy, a filmmaker who just left everything, saved all he could for 3 years to cross the Americas with a bike he never biked in his life. A bicycle. He never biked in his life, never. And he tells us about how he awakened.
Like we look at it and, going through and editing it later is like, this guy's having an awakening through nature. His experiences that he's sharing are exactly the things that we're learning as we go, but we're comprehending it in a different manner to be able to share from people that don't even know that they have something to share.
We made a whole hour interview about him, but only a year and a half down the road published it. That's one example. Another one is the same thing in Oregon, the early days of our thing. We met Stephanie. Wow, how resilient and beautiful a soul, this woman. And turns out she lost a child 10 years before. And the whole thing is that she wants to talk about it because that this is not something that she could do. And so there's more healing needed.
It sounds like beautiful content. Like really, really beautiful content.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is. I mean, it's not us. They are those people, yeah.
Because this is the other thing is we're editing stuff that we experienced 2 years ago with the knowledge and growth that we have now. I think it makes all of the difference in the introduction to the piece, and then at the end, what did I learn from it? It took me a year after that, and I learned this, and this, or some things come full circle, and it's like, okay, there's things that are very clear at this place that when we crossed over into Mexico a year ago, there's other stories. I'm like, wow, this is really connected.
Now, you know how you were telling me that, to put out an hour-long offering, it takes you about a month, understandably, to do a really good job. But is there any reason why a couple times during the week you can't just check out or check in on camera and say, here's where I'm at, here's what's coming, here's what I'm learning, here's why I'm excited for you to see it?
Fear.
Okay, well then that's
On my part, fear. Fear is
that tells me it's probably the perfect opportunity for you.
He's a perfectionist, Tiger. It's like
I totally get that.
We kind of settled on the median of that, of trying to do shorts. And Genevieve wants to do shorts like, hey, I'm live right now. Check out this location. Me, I'm like, okay, let's go collect B-roll. We'll just turn the camera this way instead of this way, and we're gonna assemble something. And so it's still produced, and it's still like, I know no matter what, it's the vulnerability and feeling like you're there with that person that's going to change things. And I'm also aware that it's fear that's stopping me from letting us go further into that direction. And I'm aware that we can do both. If we just did something in the moment and it doesn't do well or nobody responds to it, to me it almost feels like we're here and we're around a group of people and it's our turn to talk and nobody's listening. If we produce a piece, my heart and my art and my passion go into it, and I don't care who watches it or not. It's what I feel was birthed into this world, and it's there. If people want to watch it, yes, no. But there's something that's a lot more vulnerable to me about doing these like live updates and
he describes it really well. When he said that earlier, like a year ago maybe, I was like, but that's impossible. The reasoning, the logic is not there. And I've been living 24/7 with him, and it's actual truth. I'm like, after so much work, hundreds and hundreds of hours on one piece, I'm like, if it doesn't pick up, he's gonna be devastated. Nope, it's literally what he said. The moment he births the baby, he doesn't give a care about it anymore. It's like, it's done. I've done what I had to do with it. That's true. That's very true. And that's why I take over, and I'm like, oh my God, people won't like it. Like, it's useless. Like, all this work for nothing.
Well, all this work for learning.
True.
Yeah.
For real.
It's amazing in my experience to watch how I continue to put out content, and then it's the content that I put out 2 years ago that touched someone's life that I completely forgot about. Yeah. That has established an important relationship.
Do you know how many times I use this podcast of you? I was listening to it in Israel, Tiger. So that is way past 2 years ago, having reverence for the opposite. So something along the line of like, you say you like to inhale. So, but you're going to hate exhaling, like, and breathe out, you're going to hate breathing out. You can't, so you can have reverence for that other thing. This term reverence, I
use it all the time now.
I use it like about once, twice, sometimes 5 times a week.
If I go back and find that podcast and watched it, I would say, oh my God, this is so bad.
I know, this is one of your best.
If I had spent more time on it, whatever, but that's not what connects with people. It's like you can tie yourself up in knots trying to be perfect, but really what the world wants to see is your heart.
Yeah,
it's true.
Exactly.
The people you want to connect with, they want to see your heart. The world itself is probably concerned with things you're not concerned about. I want to get an update from Glenn about his frustration in being in the jungle trying to make a movie. I want to hear about that, because then when the movie comes out, it's going to be even more beautiful. Like, wow, yeah, you really went through it, man. And here you created something magical. That's what draws me in. That's what allows me to know the creator. Because if I see the end result one time, let me put it this way. I'm a huge fan of like film. Like, I like watching movies from the perspective of making a film. Like, why did they do this? Why did they do that? And then what I like to do is I like to watch interviews with the director and even the actors. and then I fall in love with the director and actors, right? And then I want to see more of their work because I understand them more as a human being. Now, if I just see the movie, it's like, oh yeah, they're a great actor. But then to find out, oh, you're a great human being, I'm really interested in all your work.
I said I want to do an interview regularly, like Steven Spielberg style. Like Steven Spielberg gets interviewed, you know? And he's like, we're sitting. I told him I want to sit and I want to ask you questions about what we're going through because I'm always the one on camera. And lately I said, people would love it. So thank you so much, Tiger.
Part of my draw in hearing from you also comes from the very obvious realization that you don't want to be on camera. Watching somebody who wants to be on camera isn't very engaging for me.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's a show and they're performing, which is fine and great. But I want to see the human. And a lot of times you see the human, you see the raw experience from somebody who doesn't really want to be on camera.
That's one thing that hasn't changed. Like at first when we started this journey, there was the awkwardness of Genevieve being on camera. She never wanted to be on camera. And my personal way of filming is I do not like to direct. I want to capture all the moments, how they happen, and I want to be as invisible as possible because the camera changes the way people interact and everything. She's so true to herself, and it doesn't change for the person, and it doesn't change for the camera.
Which brings us to put us in trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Yeah, saying how you feel, like to me, I have a threshold. If I see somebody being hurt, if I hear something that's very inappropriate, and I believe that everybody around that, including that person, should know that that's not appropriate, I have no problem stepping in and doing that. But with Genevieve, it's like the threshold is way down here. So it's like Genevieve's truth and her honor and her morals are like just floating on top of her skin, and anybody that walks by is going. And for me, at the beginning of the journey, that was awkward. But I think that's also one of the things that's appealing.
He was ashamed of me.
I was. Well, I wouldn't say ashamed, but I was embarrassed.
He was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got us in trouble because, and sometimes it's true, it's painful, and it's for no reason. I could shut my mouth. There are two reasons. If I feel in danger, I will say, you're hurting me, and then it comes out when people don't intend maybe anything. But also if there is something injustice, I'm learning to, not every truth of mine is good to say, because I thought something was not fair. So we're learning.
It has gotten us.
It has hurt us. It has done a lot of great stuff for us. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, because at the same time that it hurts you, it's also this extraordinary opportunity to become closer and to communicate and to understand each other better. It's very much like you go through life and you're going to fuck up big time, but you're going to learn big time. And that's all for you. So yeah, embrace that. Embrace it not working for you, because it actually is working for you in some weird cosmic way.
The messing up, because my whole thing with like business is like fail faster so you can learn to succeed. As you can guess, we have a variety of things that we've filmed throughout this last 2 years. About 3 months ago, we had a hit and run accident. Somebody hit our car. We were in the car when they hit us. They looked right at us and they drove off. I got out of the car and chased them down the street, and luckily there was a cop like 4 intersections down, and I told him that car just hit us. As you can guess, just from this little framing of the story, it's kind of an entertaining little piece, and we set it up into 3 different shorts. I released them on YouTube, and I noticed that our subscribe rate went up with these 3 pieces. And I was like, this is great. We're getting momentum. We went from this like not connected content. It's circumstantial, it's entertainment, and it's not what our journey is about.
At all.
The very next piece we released after that was something that was very heart connected. And immediately the next day, all the subscribers go down. And at first I was like, oh, this is why. And I figured it out. This isn't the audience that we want. We don't want the audience that is wanting to watch a car crash in slow motion. Like they're wanting to learn and grow. That little section of time when I was kind of in the mindset of like, we need to create content so we can grow this channel and get monetized and build something sustainable. It was a one-day thing. It was like I watched the growth, I watched it shrink, but I also saw that off of that one video, we got one new subscriber. And I was like, you know what? I should be very glad that that one subscriber is off of that video, because that's the audience that we want to build. And the whole thing of, for me, niching down and figuring out what we're doing, to me, these shorts of like these more entertainment value type of things, they don't tell the story of what we're doing. So the next video that somebody watches of what we're doing, they're going, this isn't what I came for. And they leave. And I'm trying to be at a space where I'm much more welcoming to that in my real life, and if somebody's not here appreciating what we're doing and what we have to offer and they're looking for something else, just let them go.
Exactly. That's such a huge point, and it's something that I think we all learn as creators, is that, I paint, I do what I do because it's what I enjoy doing. And the moment I start trying to paint what other people want me to paint, I no longer enjoy painting.
Yes.
And so if I'm really going to put my heart in this and share my heart with the world, then I have to share what's real and true for me and authentic. And then those who like it will like it, and those who don't. And like you've experienced, there's a massive illusion in the numbers.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of subscribers and it means absolutely nothing. And you can have a few subscribers that are deeply, devoted to your heart. And that makes a much bigger impact. And like, as you're going through all of this and paying attention, you're just describing this incredibly natural learning process that ultimately leads you back to you to just do what's important. And I think you're going to constantly be coming back to that. You're going to constantly be distracted by what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing, and getting lost in that. And the pain of being lost is just going to bring you right back to the heart of the matter. It's like, wow, I just want to tell really good stories that have value and get better at doing that. And in some way, I want to say, do that and it'll all work out, but I don't know. I don't know. But as you've experienced over the past 2 years, you guys just set off and you went for it. And somehow here you are now, right? Somehow you're taken care of. And it's the same thing for me. It blows my mind that I'm still alive. It blows my mind that I'm able to pay for things and then I'm still here. And I don't even know how it worked. But what I kept coming back to was, if I don't do what I'm here to do, I don't want to be alive. It's like, I don't want to be human pretending to be something I'm not. It's very, very painful. So I'm going to focus on what's sincere for me and share that. And in that process, I encounter people who hate it, people who think it's dumb, people who think I'm doing something evil and sending other people to hell. And it's like, okay, right? But it's like, I know my own heart. And so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. That's exactly what you do. And it shows, because I've been following you for a few years now. The way you approach it is with sincerity, and you give your thing, and it goes or it doesn't, it passes or it doesn't, but you remain true to yourself. And that's exactly where I want to be. I think this is the one thing that appeals to me most. This is, at the end of the day, I want to feel like I'm sincere.
Yeah, and behind that sincerity, here's the secret sauce, is that I don't really know, right? Like, when people come to me for help, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's best for you. I don't know what you need, but here's my experience. And even as I say things and I tell people, it's like when I do the podcast every week and I sit for an hour and share insight, I make it clear in some way, I'm just talking to myself here, right? Like everything you think I'm saying to you about your life, I'm talking about my life. I'm talking about what I see in me. So you could just imagine that you're not even here. You're just listening to a self-conversation that I'm having. The thing that I'm giving is like this open window into my own self-discovery. And I'm sharing what I see. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing too, is you're encountering these beautiful stories. It rings something true in you. It brings about an insight that may or may not resonate with somebody else, but you find it fascinating. It's where you are right now. And then because it's beautiful, you share it. And you're just going to find other humans that resonate with that.
It started already, huh? It's starting. It's like, and we can see it because things align, you know? Things align. There are these indicators of, oh, I must be doing something good for myself right now because I feel appreciated. I might not even be, I don't know, but it feels like I am. So I'm much less reactive and I'm maybe more responsive. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. So it shows, it's like, oh, we're doing something good because I felt some sort of depressed feelings, but I didn't dive in. And I use them to reflect on life and something and be like, and I could be like, oh, well, could remember that I'm growing when these shitty feelings hit. And they feel shitty, but they're probably the ones that made me grow the most.
Something I've been noticing lately is like when Genevieve started trying to get me to listen to different podcasts and stuff in the beginning, it was presented in the manner of like, oh, this is for you. Like, you have something to learn out of this. And
so he thought.
And yeah, it all has to do with my own perception. And I can pinpoint the moment that changed with a few things was in the last location we were in. There was a time frame where she was listening to one of your podcasts like every day, and she was doing it for herself. She wasn't asking me, oh, there's this section in here that it's really for you. It was, I'm now listening to her growing for herself. So you're not trying to teach her a lesson. So therefore, now she's gravitating towards it. And then now she's not trying to teach me a lesson. Therefore, I'm gravitating towards it. And we're both just listening to, and I've admired that about listening to your pieces, is that it's almost like a therapeutic process for you. I don't know if I'm correct, but that's what it sounds like, is the collection of the thoughts and the processing is the therapy for you, and you're basically listening in on a self-therapy session, you know?
Yeah, my work became my spiritual practice, where like, okay, so with my weekly podcast that I do, I come up with a topic, and it's a topic that interests me, right? It's like, it's something that, oh, I want to explore XYZ. And so what do? I schedule a live video where I have to show up and talk about that.
That's your nightmare.
That's my nightmare. Wow.
As I schedule, and here's the thing, I don't do a lot of planning. Like, I don't strategize so much how I'm going to talk about it. Here's what I do to prepare. Like, for example, on Friday, I'll come up with the topic. Over the weekend, I'll know what the topic is for next Tuesday, but it's just like on my awareness. And I start to see it in my own experience, right? Like, okay, how does this relate to this experience, and da, 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 da. And then I write a Monday newsletter, which is a precursor to that topic. And so first thing I do on Monday morning when I wake up is I block out 2 hours of time and I write the pre-broadcast reflections, the newsletter. Essentially, here's the topic. Here's why I want to explore it tomorrow. And then I just write down my initial thoughts. Sometimes it's 400 words, sometimes it's 1,400 words. And then I show up for the live video. And do you know what I do? In the format of the show, I introduce the show, then I take 2 minutes and I say nothing, right? It's like, okay, we're going to do 2 minutes of stillness. And that's for me. That's for me to really just be present and realize that this isn't anything other than just being here and being honest about what I see as it relates to this topic.
I have those 2 minutes drive me crazy because I'm going to, okay, where's the juice starting? And then on my phone, I can't get, I'm like, man, I missed that one. So I go back and it's still in the middle of the 2 minutes. It drives me nuts.
Well, in the future, we're planning on to have YouTube's timestamps. So you can skip the two. Yeah. So you can go right to the next one.
It's a very good idea.
Yeah. But it's my favorite part of the whole program because it just, I get out of my own way.
It's like I'm joking, I'm laughing about it and stuff, but it does makes it you.
You know what? And here's the thing too. And this is a great example. Last week's episode, something about how to start over, like whether it's in business or life, right? How to start over. And after I did that video, I thought to myself, oh my God, that was so bad. That was so bad. It wasn't a good one. And then that whole week, I probably got more feedback about how awesome that video was than any of the more recent videos that I did. It's like, really, are you sure? And I just kept getting emails from people saying how much they liked it. And that's not an uncommon thing where I create something and I think it was terrible, but yet people find a value there that I didn't anticipate.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, you seem very, you seem to think you're very disorganized, and at the same time, you seem very organized.
No matter how organized or how good it is, we can always find something that's lacking.
That we're uncomfortable with.
Yeah, and we can focus on the lacking, even though we've actually made tremendous progress.
Right.
And so, but I still feel that in my life, I wish I could get more organized. But it's that sort of desire that brings me into the organization that I have now and to continue to improve, right? Like at first it was my fans, people who enjoyed my content, they would help me for free just to help out, which was amazing. And then as it grew, it's like, oh wait, now I can hire people.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It invites a different form of presence.
Right.
Do you have any questions or anything before we wrap up here? Anything that you really wanted to get to that we didn't?
Yeah, there is something. So, like as we're doing this thing with you, and I saw you have a new class I just saw this morning that's out, and I'm gonna take a look at it as soon as we're done. But I don't necessarily want to get so focused. And I know that every program of coaching, it starts with like, you need to know what it is, like you need to find your audience, you need to find your niche and what you're going to talk about. But so I say awakening, but I don't necessarily want to get into something focused. I want to be able to live the experience and offer what I've learned from it or what I'm living without having to worry about, oh, but this is not what we typically do or offer. If that makes any sense. And that's what worries me, that I'm thinking. Like, I know everything says, like the YouTube algorithm, you need to find your niche, your audience. But yeah, from one video to another, it doesn't necessarily appear blatant. We're talking, there is a connecting thread.
The connecting thread is that you're clear about who you're making videos for. That's what's important. And that's the value in niching down. It's that you understand that, okay, I'm making content for a person who enjoys XYZ. Maybe they have these kinds of struggles. Maybe they'll resonate with this. And when you get clear about that, it helps you move forward. Because if you're not clear about that, you're going to start thinking that you're making content for everyone, and you're not. And that's when you'll start trying to make content that you think everyone wants you to make. But when you're making content for a very specific person, then you make content for them, which is really a reflection of yourself.
I was just gonna say that is because the film is a reflection of the both of us. She's a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of her. The camera is just documenting that.
We had
And
this
then
mirror.
you have a and then you have this creative skill to tell this narrative, with film, and it makes it more beautiful. And that's such a great opportunity, right? That's just a unique way of painting, right? That's your form of painting. So go out and paint and share it, right? This is really for you. This is what interests me. This is what excites me. This is what I enjoy. This is what is worthy of my time while I'm here on earth. So I'm going to do that. Yeah. Go ahead, Genevieve. What were you saying?
No, I was going to say, we're going to make a film. We're documenting our life. So yeah, the connection thread is that we are on a path of growth and we're trying to accept growth as it comes. I think this is one connected thread, and we're going to make a film. Like the camera is right here, GoPro is right here. A film about us being coached, of us being in a session to learn more about how to make what we do something profitable and how to enjoy it more and how to make it. I just love the concept of you give 80% free and 20% of what's not free is actually sustaining.
What's funny is, with what you guys are doing, I have absolutely no clue how you can make money doing it. I mean, other than the traditional avenue of building a large following, and monetizing that somehow. Yeah, it seems like that would be required, to at least have a decent sized audience. But at the same time, you're telling such a fantastic story.
We've been offered once to have someone taking care of it and us giving the material and people doing the stuff for us and people who work in the film business. And I felt like people were getting into business, wanting to make a product when I was just on a healing journey.
A good example of how that came about, they were so into our stories of the time when we ran out of gas in Death Valley and, ended up at this random oasis in the middle of the desert, and these circumstantial things that if you're sitting around a group of people and you're telling this story, it's entertaining and they're like, wow, I could see how we could make money off of this. But that's not at all what we're wanting to do. So it's kind of like that example of the hit and run scenario. But in real life, it's do we really want somebody to take over the creative part of what we're doing and just try and make it entertainment rather than learning and growth?
I did question my response afterwards when I saw when there were months that I saw Glenn was taking care of everything financially, and I felt like shit. And I did regret it. I did have a second thought, and I was like, gosh, those people could be doing the thing that I don't manage to be doing. But now look at where we are, and it's still beautiful. And I think right now I'm sitting in a flow, believing that life is supporting me.
What also comes up for me is that you said an important point, which is, there's creating content that's traditionally entertaining, but that's not what you want to do. Okay, I get that, but what I don't get so much yet is a clear communication of what you are doing, right? Mm-hmm. I get that you don't want to do that, and I get that you want to explore something more sincere, authentic about human growth and just, right? It's you want to get to a whole different depth. But what I don't hear is that it's effectively communicated.
Yes.
And I think as you spend some time just in that reflection, how can I communicate this in one sentence? How can I communicate that I'm not into that and this is what I'm into? And then have it be powerful. Where the people who do hear that, they're going to say, yes, that's what I want. I want that too. And that's where you're going to find your audience. But you have to learn how to talk to your audience. You have to learn how to communicate with them to help them understand what it is that you're doing. And then also that statement is going to be communicated in all of the work that you share in some way. That'll be your core message. Yeah. And then as you sit with that, please let me know what you come up with. I'm super curious to hear.
Yeah.
You guys,
That's
that
all.
was amazing. That was absolutely an extraordinary hour to spend with you. I'm completely shocked because as I looked over your application, it's like, I have no clue where this is going to go.
Well, neither do we.
But yeah, I hope that I see you guys out here in Portugal someday if I'm still here.
I'm dying to be there. I see all these retreats coming and going, and I told him, man, I wish I could go to one of these.
It'll manifest. It'll
We'll
happen.
manifest. We're putting it up.
Yeah, where can people learn about your project? What's the YouTube or wave info?
Wake in Wave podcast and film series. So it's Wake, W-A-K-E, in I-N Wave, W-A-V-E, Wake in Wave.
All right. Thank you so much, you guys. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiger.
You've been listening to the HeartBased.io Solopreneur Podcast. For show highlights, notes, and more, visit us online at HeartBased.io. While you're there, be sure to sign up for my weekly email, the Sunday Letter to Solopreneurs, and download my free guide for new or struggling heart-based solopreneurs, helping you understand why and how it's possible to love on others and get paid well for it in the process.